At number 10, Harry Styles. Harry Styles is probably one of the most unproblematic celebrities out there. He's a wholesome, lovable guy who every mom would love for their child to bring home. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he isn't subject to having some unfortunate moments. One of Harry's worst moments came from back in 2014 while at the Brit Awards with One Direction. The band had won the Global Success Award, and as the group went up to accept the award, they noticed that Harry was MIA. Well, the show went on and the lads started accepting the award without Harry, at least until this happened.
Hey, are you talk?
I'm really sorry I was having a wee. The toilets are ages away. What did we win?
I thank the fans and everyone.
Harry ran up to the stage halfway through their acceptance, admitting that he was in the bathroom and was late getting back. It was embarrassing to admit, but probably not as embarrassing as being caught asking what they'd even won. Poor Harry must have been blushing a bit after that one. At number 10, Logan Paul. The Paul brothers are always in some kind of trouble in some form or another. Between Jake and his Team 10 drama and now his boxing antics, to Logan and his own scandals, they've certainly got a reputation for being troublesome on the internet. But out of all of Logan's scandals, his worst moment has to be the release of his Japanese forest video. Back in 2017, Logan Paul took a trip to Japan, and while he was there, he and some friends decided to visit a forest located at the edge of Mount Fuji, allegedly to document the eerie nature and, quote, supernatural-like feeling of the forest. While they were there filming, Logan found a body of an individual who had taken their own life in the forest, and he filmed it. Later, he posted it on YouTube with the title, "We found a dead body in the Japanese forest." His video came with outrage from fans and other celebrities who were taken aback by the disrespect and graphic nature of the video. As a result of the backlash, Logan was hit with a huge scandal and lost a number of brand deals as well. He was featured on news outlets and was dubbed the most hated man on the internet basically overnight. He's since recovered from the scandal and is now turning his attention to boxing like his brother, but this scandal still makes for one of Logan's worst moments.
Coming in at number 10, Justin Bieber. Back in 2013, Justin Bieber's comments about Anne Frank sparked a massive backlash online. The singer had been in Europe for part of his tour and stopped by the Anne Frank Museum. According to their official Facebook page, here's what they said caused such an uproar. Yesterday night, Justin Bieber visited the Anne Frank house together with his friends and guards. Fans were waiting outside to see a glimpse of him. He stayed more than an hour in the museum. In our guest book, he wrote, "Truly inspiring to be able to come here. Anne was a great girl. Hopefully she would have been a believer." It was a truly embarrassing celebrity moment and showed Justin's true colors at the time. He really took an inspiring moment and made it all about himself somehow. But before we hit number 9, I need you guys to hit that like button because it really helps us out.
At number 9, Fergie. 2005 was a rough time for singer Fergie because she had a bit of an embarrassing scandal in the media that year. The Black Eyed Peas, the group that Fergie was a part of, was scheduled to perform at a concert in San Diego one evening, but they were running terribly behind due to traffic. By the time the group got to the venue, there was no time for them to do anything else but get on stage and start performing. This would turn out to be a very unfortunate setback for Fergie because what people came to later discover is that Fergie really needed to use the washroom before getting up on stage. Since there was no time for that, she ignored Nature's call and started performing. Not too long into her performance, Nature called again, and this time the call was being answered whether she liked it or not. Soon enough, fans at the concert started to notice a growing dark stain on the front of Fergie's khaki shorts as her bladder just couldn't hold it in anymore and she peed her pants. But hey, she kept performing, and that's what I call bravery and determination. Before we continue on with the video, please do consider leaving a like on it because your support really does mean a lot to us. At number 9, Ariana Grande. One celebrity that you don't often see getting into any conflicts is Ariana Grande. For the most part, the singer keeps to herself and doesn't really make many waves in the media. But maybe that's because of the scandal that befell her back in 2015. Ariana was caught in a scandal that year after being exposed for her behavior while visiting a bakery in California. Surveillance cameras in the donut shop caught the singer licking donuts while the employees weren't looking, and even caught her yelling about her distaste for America. The footage was leaked and shared by TMZ, and though we all thought that the donut licking was the end of it, we were wrong. The owner of the donut shop came out after the footage was leaked, saying that Ariana was caught spitting on some of the donuts as well, and that she was reportedly very rude to staff working there, demanding that the person helping her keep bringing out the pastries that the other employees were baking. On top of that, the shop's owner said that the donuts that were defiled by Ariana were unknowingly sold to other customers that day. Ariana issued an apology for her actions and said that her remarks about how she hates America was in reference to the obesity in the country, and seeing how bad the donuts were made her upset.
Either way, her behavior wasn't ideal and it's one of her worst moments.
Coming in at number 9, Jennifer Lawrence. It turns out that walking in heels while wearing a ball gown is probably not the best idea for Jennifer Lawrence. Her tripping incident from 2013 really set her off on the wrong foot, pun intended, as she would go on to trip at 2 more important red carpet events, but for now, let's relive the 2013 situation. While heading to the stage to accept her Oscar for Best Actress, J-Law took a hard tumble in front of everyone. She did manage to get her bearings and pick herself back up, but this sparked the rumor mill like nothing else. Shortly after the event, Anderson Cooper actually accused her of faking the fall. This was obviously devastating because up until that point, nothing had humiliated her quite like that fall did. Jennifer ended up running into Anderson Cooper later on though and really gave him a piece of her mind. During an interview with People magazine, she said, "I'll tell you what, I saw him at a Christmas party and I let him know. My friend told me a vein was bulging out of my eyes. He apologized, I think we're good friends now. On my end, we're all good. What I led with was, have you ever tried to walk upstairs in a ball gown? So then how do you know?" He apologized immediately and said he didn't know and gave this wonderful apology. I was all fired up and he probably told everyone I was a psycho.
At number 8, Ashlee Simpson. This moment is often referred to as the worst moment in SNL history. Whether that's true or not is up to you, but I have to admit it's pretty bad. In 2004, Ashlee Simpson was on SNL to perform a few of her songs to promote her album Autobiography. The first song she performed was her song Pieces of Me, and that performance went well, but the second song, not so much. As the band set up for the next song, the track for Pieces of Me started playing again with vocals, revealing that Ashlee had been lip-syncing that whole time. Clearly embarrassed, Ashlee froze for a second and then started doing an embarrassing jig before running off the stage as the show cut to commercial. Some say that her career never really recovered from that moment, but years later she offered an explanation as to why she was lip-syncing, saying that she had terrible acid reflux and her father was the one who suggested having a backing track. All in all, it was a very embarrassing moment and it was career-altering as well. At number 8, Liam Neeson. In 2019, actor Liam Neeson did an interview for his role in Cold Pursuit, and in this interview he spoke about how he could relate to the character he played. In the film, he played a father trying to avenge his son's death, and he said that he was able to relate to this character's plight for vengeance because he once tried to do the same thing. The actor told the interviewer that his friend once told him that they were a and so for days following the incident, Liam would apparently walk up and down streets with a heavy bat of some kind, waiting for an altercation. He said that since his friend's attacker was described as a man, he said that he was hoping that someone would, quote, come out of a pub and have a go at me about something, end quote. Definitely one of the worst interviews he could have given, admitting that he sought out violence against a man to atone for the actions of presumably someone else.
Coming in at number 8, Reese Witherspoon.
Question I want to ask. Come on. You better not arrest me.
Yes,
Are
ma'am.
you kidding me?
No, I told you.
I'm an American citizen.
I told you to get in that car and stay in there, didn't I?
This is beyond.
Although it may be difficult to tell from that dashcam footage acquired by TMZ, but that is without a doubt Reese Witherspoon being arrested. As far as celebrity mugshots go, this one is certainly bizarre to see. Back in 2013, Reese and her husband Jim Todd happened to be driving in the wrong lane while in Atlanta. The worst part about that arrest video is later on when Reese starts pulling the celebrity classic line of, "Do you know who I am?" While the officer was speaking with her husband, Reese decided to just get out of the car to confront the cop, and right after he said, "Ma'am, get back in the car please," her husband was charged with driving under the influence, while Reese, who stated that she was a US citizen and that she was allowed to stand on American ground, was arrested for disorderly conduct. The couple were released from jail on bond at 3:30 a.m. the following day with a court appearance pending. I can't believe she said, "Do you know my name?" or "Do you know who I am?" Wild stuff. Coming in
at number 7, John Travolta. In 2014, John Travolta created one heck of a meme. At the Oscars that year, Idina Menzel was supposed to perform Let It Go from the movie Frozen, and John Travolta was supposed to introduce her to the stage. Well, instead of introducing Idina, he instead welcomed someone named Adele Dazeem.
Let It Go from the Oscar-winning animated movie Frozen. Please welcome the wickedly talented one and only Adele Dazeem.
While it was embarrassing for both parties as it created memes within minutes and was even the subject of a John Travolta name generator where it would scramble your name like Adele Dazeem, there was actually an explanation for the whole unfortunate mishap. According to John, Idina's name had been changed on the teleprompter at the last minute so that it was spelled phonetically. John hadn't rehearsed with the name spelt like that, and so it messed him up. And then Adele Dazeem was born.
At number 7, Vanessa Hudgens. One thing that unfortunately a lot of celebrities face is having having their private photos leaked to the public. Sometimes stars are able to brush it off, but depending on their career and demographic, these actions may have varying consequences. In 2007, Vanessa Hudgens was one celebrity who had to face the scrutiny of having her pictures leaked, and since she was a Disney star at the time, since High School Musical was in full force at the time of this scandal, things were very difficult for her. Vanessa described the trauma that she felt at this time, having her privacy taken away from her, and the embarrassment that she felt, as well as being a role model for young fans of hers and letting them down. Though this was no fault of her own, she still issued an apology for her fans for this unfortunate incident and for having taken those photos in the first place. In recent years, Vanessa has proven to be much stronger after this incident and says that she is a, quote, big advocate of being true to herself regardless of whether people like it or not. Even though this wasn't a scandal based on her own wrongdoings, it was still one of the worst moments that she's faced.
And number 7, Kristen Stewart. It was called The Kiss Heard Around the World. At the time, Kristen Stewart was in a long-time relationship with her Twilight co-star Robert Pattinson. Although while filming the movie Snow White and the Huntsman, she was spotted getting a little too cozy with the director Rupert Sanders. The photos were clearly snapped by a paparazzi lurking in the bushes because the pair did not even notice. In regards to these photos surfacing, she said, "I'm deeply sorry for the hurt and embarrassment I've caused to those close to me and everyone this has affected. This momentary indiscretion has jeopardized the most important thing in my life, the person I love and respect the most, Rob. I love him, I'm so sorry." Rob ended up forgiving Kristen because he didn't want to toss away a 3-year relationship for one infidelity, but they ended up breaking up anyways.
At number 6, Kelly Osbourne. During an episode of The View, Kelly Osbourne really messed up while she was trying to clap back at Donald Trump. Just shortly before that episode, Donald Trump, who was at the time a presidential nominee, was saying offensive things about the Latinx community and how he wanted to deport them. Remember all that jazz? Yeah. Well, in a very poor attempt at clapping back, Kelly said, quote, "If you kick every Latina out of this country, then who's going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?" Instead of defending the Latinx community like she set out to do, she ended up offending them even.
Not help. And if you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Even more, as her remarks were interpreted as saying that the Latinx community is only good for being housekeepers, like the offensive stereotype depicts. She later issued an apology saying, quote, "I want to start by saying I always take responsibility for my actions. In this particular case, I will take responsibility for my poor choice of words, but I will not apologize for being racist as I am not," end quote. Though it's forgotten about now, it was still one of Kelly's worst moments.
At number 6, Tom Brady. Now, I can't say that I'm the biggest football fan ever because I barely understand the game. I root for the Miami Dolphins because my uncle told me to, and that's about it. I watch the Super Bowl for the commercials and the halftime show and go on my merry way because that's the extent of my football attention span. But in 2015, going on your merry way was a little harder to do as the AFC Championship game was also shrouded in scandal that year, and all eyes were on Tom Brady. The Deflategate scandal, as was dubbed by news sources, saw Tom Brady caught in the middle of a huge sporting controversy after it was discovered that the balls used at the championship were deflated and that he allegedly knew about this. It was theorized that the balls could have been deflated to help Brady's grip and to make it easier for other players to catch and hold onto the balls. As a result of the scandal, Tom Brady was due to miss the first 4 games of the season, the Patriots were fined $1 million, and the team lost 2 draft picks as well. It was bad press for Brady and probably one of his worst moments.
Coming in at number 6, Brad Pitt. Well, we all saw this one coming, didn't we? No relationship that begins with people cheating ever ends with a happily ever after story. Brad originally cheated on Jennifer Aniston with Angelina Jolie after filming Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Angelina then suspected that Brad was cheating on her, so she hired a private eye who uncovered some very incriminating photos of her husband kissing his World War II co-star. A source close to Angelina said she hired a private eye because she felt that he was fooling around with her on the set, and it turns out he was. And that was the final straw. And indeed it was, because not too long after, Angelina Jolie filed for divorce.
At number 5, Sean Penn. At the 2015 Academy Awards, Sean Penn was announcing the award for Best Picture. Before reading the name of the winner, Alejandro G. Iñárritu, he made a joke that definitely did not land. Before announcing Alejandro as the winner, Sean joked saying, quote, "Who gave this son of a bitch his green card?" Ugh.
Who gave this son of a bitch his green card? Birdman.
Sean's joke was seen as highly offensive and racist, as one person online explained, quote, "The struggles people endure for immigration justice are not punchlines." As Alejandro is Mexican, this joke was definitely uncalled for and inappropriate. Some defended Sean, saying that he only made the joke because they'd been friends for about a decade, but others made the argument that, quote, "A director of color can't accept an Oscar without being the butt of a racist joke." The award show was supposed to be a scandal-free evening, but instead news outlets took to broadcasting Sean's offensive remark, making this one of his worst moments.
At number 5, One Direction. In 2014, while I and many other teens were obsessing over One Direction, the boy band came into some controversy after a video was leaked which showed Louis Tomlinson and Zayn Malik smoking that green, talking about drugs, and just being not very family friendly. The band was a hit with young teens, so this video coming out showing a more adult side of the boys was certainly not good press for them. The video was taken during the Latin American leg of their 2014 stadium tour on their way to one of their concerts. The footage was leaked by the Daily Mail and certainly caused a stir. Though in the grand scheme of things, it's not really that big of a deal, since nowadays many celebrities post videos and photos of them with La Ganja, but this being 2014 and a huge band with thousands of young fans, a scandal like this wasn't a good look for the boys. There was reportedly conflict between the bandmates after this, and one has to wonder if this incident was part of the fuel that eventually broke the band up.
Coming in at number 5, Winona Ryder. Now, when it comes to excuses for shoplifting, Winona Ryder takes the cake. Her week-long shoplifting trial in 2002 ended with a guilty verdict on the charges of grand theft and vandalism. This comes after she walked away with more than $5,500 in merchandise from Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills. She was, however, found not guilty of commercial burglary, which requires proof that she entered the store with intention to steal. Although interestingly enough, the store's security chief testified that the actress claimed her theft was just her way of getting into a character for an upcoming role. Man, what an excuse. She was sentenced to 3 years supervised probation, ordered to do 480 hours of community service, and fined a total of $2,700. Ryder was also ordered to pay compensation to Saks for the stolen items and undergo counseling.
At number 4, Sacha Baron Cohen. Sacha Baron Cohen is known for his wild characters. From Bruno to Borat, he seems to live most of his life in character, and this was seemingly no exception at the Academy Awards in 2012. Sacha walked the red carpet in character as Admiral General Shahbaz Aladdin from his film The Dictator, and along with being accompanied by 2 bodyguards, he had a prop with him, a golden urn filled with the ashes of North Korean Premier Kim Jong-il. While walking the red carpet, he stopped to be interviewed by Ryan Seacrest, and then...
The interesting thing is it's actually made by South Korea. No, sorry. You've got Kim Jong.
Sacha dumped the ashes on Ryan, ruining his suit and causing a scene. Weeks later, we found out that Sacha's original target was George Clooney, but since it was a big night for him, they skipped Clooney and the unfortunate prank landed on Ryan instead. After that, Ryan purposely steered clear of Sacha, refusing to interview him, and the Academy has since been vigilant of Sacha's stunts, though they haven't really been able to stop them ever since. At number 4, T.I. In November of 2019, rapper T.I. was a guest on the Ladies Like Us podcast for their Life Hacks episode. During this episode, the rapper opened up about his daughter and how he monitors her virginity. I know it's a little weird. It's a lot weird. The rapper said that he takes his daughter to yearly gyno appointments to make sure that her hymen is still intact. A woman's hymen is commonly associated with a woman's virginity, even though there are many other ways that it could possibly be broken other than sex. T.I. doesn't really get that, it seems, and he accompanies his daughter to appointments to make sure that it's still intact. In the podcast, he said, quote, "So we'll go and sit down and the doctor will come out and talk. He's like, you know, sir, I have to in order to share information. I'm like, Deja, they want you to sign this so we can share information. Is there anything you wouldn't want me to know? See, doc? No problem." And so then they come out and say, well, I just want you to know that there are other ways besides sex that the hymen can be broken, like bike riding, athletics, horseback riding, and other forms of physical activity. So I say, look, doc, she don't ride no horses, she don't ride no bike, she don't play no sports. Just check the hymen, please, and give me back my results. End quote. He later goes on to remark how no one would want to be with his daughter if she's still a virgin, saying, quote, "Who wants to be with a virgin? Like, really, all that work?" His actions and words really angered a lot of people, making for a pretty bad moment for him.
Coming in at number 4, Ryan Seacrest.
Pumped. As you should be. Well, I'm giving you a high five. Congratulations, there it is. And
this video of Ryan Seacrest trying to high five a blind man is peak cringe. Okay? My body feels like it turns inside out every time I watch it. On January 13th, 2009, during an episode of American Idol, a blind man named Scott finds out that all 4 judges have decided to put him through to the next round. As Scott comes back into the holding room to share the good news with his family, Seacrest looks noticeably impatient while standing by the door. As his family gets excited, Ryan goes for a high five, and the moment his hand comes up, you can see his brain just switch to panic mode, like once he realizes that Scott is about to just leave him hanging on live television. So in a bizarre series of events, Ryan reaches down and grabs his hand to just prompt a high five. It was hilariously awkward and certainly one celebrity moment that a lot of people have forgotten about. Until now. You're welcome.
At number 3, Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is known for being a little out there with her music and performances. She likes to take creative liberties, but her 2012 Grammys performance may have gone a little bit too far. The night was seemingly dedicated to promoting her new song, Roman Holiday, as she filled her night with references to Catholicism. First, she walked the red carpet accompanied by someone portraying the Pope, but this all came to a head during her performance where she depicted a mock confessional and exorcism and danced alongside people dressed as altar boys and monks. Nicki's performance was deemed controversial as it really angered the Catholic League. The league's president had a lot to say about the performance, calling it vulgar and questioning how the performance got approved, and saying, quote, "Whether Minaj is possessed is surely an open question, but what is not in doubt is the irresponsibility of the Recording Academy. Never would they allow an artist to insult Judaism or Islam," end quote. Nicki had said that this was part of a character that she had been writing a story for, as he would play a significant role in her music to come, but judging by the fact that she so deeply offended the Catholic League, I'd say that it was one of her worst moments.
At number 3, Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson was still riding his wave of success from his time starring in the Twilight films, and in 2011 he was doing a press tour for his film Water for Elephants, which takes place at a traveling circus. During the interview, Robert was asked about circuses and whether he ever wanted to join the circus when he was a kid. Robert replied saying that he never did on account of an incident that happened when he was a kid, the first time he ever went to a circus. He then told a story about how a clown had died when his tiny car exploded in front of the audience and that it traumatized him, preventing him from ever wanting to return to the circus again. It all sounded like a horrible story and a horrible encounter for a young Robert, at least until everyone found out that the entire story was a lie. He made up the story about the clown because he apparently had nothing interesting to say in response to the interviewer's question, and it was just really cringy.
In at number 3, Janet Jackson. Back in 2004, during a halftime show at the Super Bowl, Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake were performing when all of a sudden Janet had a major wardrobe malfunction. Not a lot of people remember this, but for a long time and still to this day, it's just been referred to as Nipplegate. I don't even know if I could say that. The unfortunate celebrity moment all went down live on the CBS television network, and even though it was only for half a second, it led to an immediate crackdown and widespread debate on perceived indecency in broadcasting. Bizarrely, this incident became controversial, but not in terms of indecency. Some commenters believe that the entire thing was a planned publicity stunt, while others viewed it as a sign that America's morality was decreasing. Pretty sure it was just an unfortunate accident, but regardless, it still had a massive impact on American culture.
At number 2, Shia LaBeouf. In 2013, Shia LaBeouf was caught in a scandal after he plagiarized a graphic novel by Daniel Clowes in his short film HowardCantor.com. The short film debuted at the Cannes Film Festival in 2012, but after it was posted online in 2013, fans realized that the plot was almost entirely taken from a graphic novel. Well, after being caught, he apologized, and you would have thought that he'd learned his lesson getting caught plagiarizing, but no. Instead, he was caught plagiarizing again in his own apology. Shia's apology said, quote, "Merely copying isn't particularly creative work, though it's useful as training practice. Being inspired by someone else's idea to produce something new and different is creative work, and it may even revolutionize the stolen concept," end quote. Someone noticed that this seemed a little familiar, and so after some digging, it was discovered that this apology was essentially copy and pasted from a Yahoo Answers reply to the question, "Why did Picasso say good artists copy but great artists steal?" He obviously didn't learn his lesson the first time, so this is arguably one of his worst moments.
At number 2, Kendall Jenner. A 2017 Pepsi commercial did more harm than good for Kendall Jenner after the advert was heavily criticized for its content. The commercial followed a protest for some unknown cause and other people drinking Pepsi products and joining in on the march. Kendall Jenner is seen in the commercial and leaves her photo shoot to join the protest, and as the crowd approaches a group of police officers, Kendall takes it upon herself to offer a can of Pepsi to one officer, who accepts it, and then they all cheer and dance. Seems like a nice fluffy piece, but it was far from that in the eyes of many. Many thought that this ad was preying on the Black Lives Matter movement and commercializing it, therefore diminishing the message that the movement sends and appropriating the movement following the shootings of Black people. The company claimed that they were looking to share a message of unity in the advertisement, but they definitely missed the mark and issued an apology as well as pulling the commercial. For Kendall though, things were difficult. She was seen on Keeping Up with the Kardashians talking about how the commercial backlash affected her, saying that she felt bad about it, but the fans weren't quick to forgive her. All in all, it was a bad situation and Kendall felt the heat.
Coming in at number 2, Steve Harvey.
I have to apologize. The first runner-up is Colombia. Universe 2015 is Philippines.
Back in 2015, many watched in awe as Steve Harvey made one of the greatest blunders in television history. Steve incorrectly announced that the winner of the Miss Universe contest was Colombia. As the celebration is happening and right as she gets crowned though, you just see poor Steve Harvey tuck his tail between his legs and march back out to correct his mistake. It was definitely hard to watch, but man, you gotta commend Steve for just owning up to his mistakes like that. Realizing that Miss Philippines was the actual winner, he came back out and corrected it without even blaming anyone for his mistake.
And finally at number 1, Kanye West. Kanye West is an outspoken dude. No matter the circumstance or setting, Kanye would do whatever he wants when he feels like it. One example of this has to come from his commentary on the situation in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina hit Louisiana back in 2005. After the tragic storm passed through the area, celebrities were gathered to do a televised fundraiser to help those affected. Teleprompters were set up for the stars to read statements and encourage people to donate, but Kanye decided to ad-lib a bit, and he had some thoughts on the situation.
Too hard to watch. I've even been shopping before even giving a donation, so now I'm calling my business manager right now to see what is the biggest amount I can give.
Kanye went on a tangent about how he feels for the people affected, especially the Black families struggling to stay safe and fed, saying that he wanted to donate as much as he could to the cause. He went on for a while, and after he passed it back to Mike Myers, who he was presenting with, Kanye took the attention back and then said the infamous line,
"Remain in the area. The destruction of the spirit of the people of southern Louisiana and Mississippi may end up being the most tragic loss of all."
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
They immediately cut the broadcast from them and went over to someone else, and Kanye's remarks were made famous, but probably not in the best way. Either way, it was one of his worst moments.
And finally at number 1, Paula Deen. Paula Deen was once seen as a wholesome Southern lady who loved to cook, but after 2013 she was seen as a racist, and things have never really been the same for the TV personality. In 2013, Paula was facing a lawsuit from one of her former employees who alleged that she endured racism and harassment while working at one of Paula's restaurants. After being deposed, the truth came out after Paula was asked if she had ever used the N-word, and she said yes. Paula said that she used it on a few occasions when talking about a black man that she had once seen, as well as some other times. After this came out, the floodgates opened, and more racist accounts came out about Paula, including a claim that she wanted her black employees to act as slaves during an event that was being hosted at one of their establishments. Later, footage surfaced which showed Paula sympathizing with her slave-owning ancestors. After this, her contract with Food Network ended, and her reputation was tarnished after she was exposed for being racist. Definitely one of the worst career moments.
Last but certainly not least, at our number 1 spot, Lindsay Lohan. Back in 2018, while Lindsay Lohan was in Moscow, she posted a live video to Instagram where she told her fans that she spotted 2 young boys that she believed were human trafficking victims. In the video, Lohan approaches this family of what she says are Syrian refugees sitting on a sidewalk under some blankets.
Tell me your story so I can help you. Michelle, tell me your story so I can help you.
Now, the fact that she wants to help this family is nice, but what's not nice is the fact that she also had to live stream this on her Instagram. Lohan tries to offer them a hotel room and suggests that the boys could maybe watch movies or on her TV or computer, but when the mother refuses to let her children just leave with Lindsay Lohan, the actress actually says to the mother, "You should not have them on the floor. You should be a hardworking woman and you should be doing what you can for your children so they have a better life." The family then tries to walk away from this conversation, but Lohan continues to stalk this family, and even starts accusing the mother of trafficking her own children, which leads us to this really embarrassing moment for Lindsay Lohan.
Give me your hand. Give me your hand.
After Lindsay just tries to run off with one of these children, the mother spins around and cracks Lohan with a punch, knocking her to the ground. A true dumb celebrity moment we should have all never forgotten about.